Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saat ini kita telah memasuki era revolusi industri 4.0. Pada saat temuan-temuan dari revolusi ini diserap dan diaplikasikan secara maksimal dalam kehidupan nyata, maka akan banyak pekerjaan dan profesi
Perhatian kepada seluruh partisipan, diharapkan untuk tenang terlebih dahulu karena sebentar lagi acara akan segera dimulai.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wabihi nasta'in ala umurid dunya waddin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'du.
First of all, praise to be Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful, who has given His grace till we can gather in this nice place. Blessing and salutation be upon the most honorable Prophet Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has brought us from the darkness into the lightness. To the honor Professor Dr. Haja Amani Lubis, LCMA, Director of State Islamic University of Sharif Hidayatullah Jakarta, along with Vice Rectors. To the honor Chief of Bureau, to the honor Mr. Saiful Umam PhD, the Dean of Faculty of Adab and Humanities, along with Vice Deans. His Excellency Salim Abdullah, the Ambassador of United Emirates Arab to the Republic of Indonesia. The special guest speakers, His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuaimi, the member of the UAA Federal National Council for the Emirates of Abu Dhabi and Chairman of the Defense Affairs, Interior and Foreign Affairs Committee. And the Honorable Mr. Andika Krisnayudanto, SHLLM, the Deputy on International Cooperation, National Counter-Terrorism Agency, the Republic of Indonesia. To the honor, Professor Albi Shihab as a special guest. And all, especially all students of Faculty of Adab and Humanities.
Selamat datang di Studium Generale pada tanggal 4 Oktober tahun 2022 yang bertajukan Koeksistensi dalam Keragaman dan Perbedaan.
coexisting with diversity and accepting differences.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban.
As the importance of multiculturalism, respecting other culture and beliefs, we truly reckon that differences show the beauty of the world, which create cooperation and peace in every places.
Dengan mengangkat topik Studium General pada kesempatan hari ini, dengan itu kami percaya bahwa pentingnya menghargai perbedaan dan keragaman guna menciptakan dunia yang damai.
My name is Tifa Shahla Abdaviota, the student of the Arabic Language and Literature.
And I am Risa Alefka Mardiana, student of the Department of Library Science.
It is such a pleasure to be your master of ceremony on this golden opportunity, Studium General, coexisting with diversity and accepting differences. Ladies and gentlemen, as the beginning of the agenda to inshallah run the event smoothly without any obstacles, let's start our agenda by reciting Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
The next session is Quranic recitation by Mita Armaina, student of the Arabic Language and Literature. The time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ayyuhalladzina amanu idza qila lakum تفسحوا في المجالس فافسحوا يفسح الله لكم وإذا قيل انشزوا فانشزوا يرفع الله انشزوا فانشزوا يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات والله بما تعملون خبير صدق الله العظيم ثم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Sadaqallahul Azim. May Allah bless us with this Quranic recitation. Amin.
The following session is singing national anthem Indonesia Raya in State Islamic University of Syarif Hidayatullah Himni. It will be led by Laila Pajriani, the student of the Arabic language and literature. For all participants, please kindly stand up from your seat. Participants are allowed to go back to your seat.
The next session is welcoming speech by Mr. Saiful Umam, PhD, the Dean of Faculty of Adab and Humanities. The time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Rector of the State Islamic University, Professor Dr. Amani Lubis, His Excellency Ambassador of the Uni Emirat Arab in Indonesia, His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi, Chairman of the Defense Affairs, Interior and Foreign Affairs Committee at the United Arab Emirates National Council, and Chairman of the International Steering Board of Hidayah, the Honorable Bapak Andika Krishna Yudanto, the Deputy for International Cooperation of the National Counter-Terrorism of the Republic Indonesia, His Excellency Professor Dr. Alwi Shihab, the former Foreign Minister of the Republic of Indonesia, all Vice Rectors, all Vice Dean, the Dean also, and lecturers, and our beloved students. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hamdan lillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzu billahi min sururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Salatu wa salaman daimaini ala nabiyyina wa habibina sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'du. First of all, I would like to welcome His Excellency and his entourage to our campus, the Sharif Hidayah State Islamic University. This might be not the first time for His Excellency, but this gonna be the first time for His Excellency to deliver speech in front of our students. I would like to also welcome Bapak Andika. Maybe he's still on the way, I checked, but he will join us soon. And also welcome to all attendees of this Studium Generale. Welcome to our campus, welcome to this wonderful auditorium named after the great man of Ciputat, Professor Dr. Harun Nasution. He was not only one of our rector, but also one of the key figures behind the movement of renewing Islam, or renewing Islamic understanding in Indonesia. Not Islam, but Islamic understanding. Secondly, I would like to inform to the audience, especially to His Excellency and also Pak Andika, that majority of attendees at this time are first-year students, although they are also open to the senior, to the second and third year, and also open to other faculties. So first-year student from the Faculty of Adab and Humanities. They are studying at 5 different departments, namely Arabic language and literature, Islamic history and civilization, translation, library science, and English literature. Every year, we usually organize a Studium Generale like this, and it's usually attended by the first year students are required to attend this kind of Studium Generale. We usually discuss the issues, significant issues relating to our knowledge, relating to adab and humanities, but also sometimes relating to current issues. So we are lucky to have His Excellency today, and also Pak Andika, who will talk on coexisting with diversity and accepting differences. Therefore, we sincerely thank and highly appreciate to both of you who will share with us knowledge and also experience in regard to these issues. In this era, I think there is no other option for us but to coexist with different people, with various people from different backgrounds. Not only coexist, but also collaborate with so many people. We need to work together with as many people as possible to make our life better and more meaningful. But we cannot also disregard and neglect the fact that there are still a few group of people who only make friends with their own group and even advocate the need to be hostile to others who are perceived as the enemy. This is why the public lecture today is very timely and significant, especially to new students who need to learn about the importance, the significance of coexisting with diversity, with different people. So in that matter, the third thing I would like to appreciate and thank to our rector, Professor Amani Lubis, who always support and facilitate our program, including today's public lecture. Without her help, I'm sure the Faculty of Adab would never had a Studium Generale with such two significant or important figures. Therefore, I would like to also invite the rector to deliver a speech, especially to our students in regard to this issue. Then, as the Dean of the Faculty of Adab, I do expect that there will be other programs following this session that will benefit the UIN Jakarta in general, and especially to our faculty. As I mentioned earlier, that the Faculty of Adab and Humanities has 5 departments, 2 of them relating to Arabic language, which are Arabic literature, Arabic language and literature, and translation. This translation is Arabic Indonesia and vice versa. Teaching Arabic to non-Arabic speakers need to be updated with new method so that teaching Arabic will become more effective. This is just an example of program that might be implemented in the future, facilitated by His Excellency, and will benefit to our lecturer. Last but not least, I would like to thank and appreciate all staff and lecturers of the Faculty of Adab who have worked hard to prepare and manage this event. Special thanks goes to Pak Usep. I should mention here because under his coordination, this event is run smoothly. Also, thank to all the Vice Dean, the Vice Dean 1 and 2, and also to all chair of department who have worked hard to succeed this event. Please also accept our pardon, our apology if there are inconveniences during this implementation of the program. Forgive me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for your remarkable welcoming speech, Dr. Saiful Umam.
The next welcoming speech will be delivered by Professor Dr. Amani Lubis, LCMA, Director of State Islamic University of Sharif Hidayatullah, Jakarta. To Director, Ms. Amani Lubis, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. Honorable, distinguished guests, especially His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi, Chairman of Defense Affairs, Interior and Foreign Affairs Committee at the United Arab Emirates National Council, and the Chairman of International Steering Board of Hidayah. His Excellency, Ambassador of United Arab Emirates, Mr. Abdullah Salim Ad-Dahiri, thank you for coming for the many times to our campus, Alhamdulillah. And His Excellency Alwi Shihab, Bapak Alwi Shihab, former Foreign Minister of the Republic of Indonesia, and also there are many friends from, there is Mr. Yes, Matthias. Yeah, I should mention also Bapak Matthias Ho from Leimena Institute, and all of the professors, vice rectors, deans and vice deans, especially from the Faculty of Adab and Humaniora, or in Humanities, Faculty of Arts and Humanities. Yes, and all of the students, I think it's more than 1,000 here, more or less, yes, because 2 floors are crowded now, Alhamdulillah. And we all attend this general lecture from His Excellency Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi, and also the second speaker is Bapak Andika Krishna Duyanto from the National Counterterrorism Agency, BNPT, the Republic of Indonesia, and he is the Deputy of International Cooperation. Yeah, I would like to give the warmest greetings to all of the participants, the audiences, and also the speakers today. I'm grateful to be standing here and welcoming you all in this Studium Generale, entitled Coexistence, I would like to say it coexistence, not coexisting. Coexistence with diversity and accepting differences. Yeah, and of course we know Indonesia is a big country, and as I explained to Your Excellency Bapak Ali Rashid in my office, I showed in the map how big Indonesia is. And Indonesia has very diverse, infinite diverse of everything in Indonesia, not just ethnicity, but also from the many aspects. And Alhamdulillah, Indonesian people love the nature of Indonesia, and also all people of Indonesia, no matter the religion, ethnicity, and also color. So that Indonesia is a model of coexistence in the world. I believe like that. Okay. And in Indonesia, we also have the we have done many efforts to make the people live harmoniously, and also have this coexistence in their life. Even there is also some events or some crisis or violent actions, but as a whole, Indonesian people love peace, and also peaceful life and harmonious life. So we know that our responsibility is big in building the country and also in peacekeeping, so that we continuously taught the students and our new generation to follow the peaceful means and thinking in everything. Peaceful coexistence also important, because without peace we cannot live together in our country and in our global earth. By peaceful life also we can develop our country. We will be positively we have contribution positively in the process of development. So this is very timely to have this discussion about coexistence in diversity and accepting differences. Indonesia also declared this year, 2022, as the year of tolerance. So that this event also is one of the activity to support what is the government meant by the year of tolerance. And at the outset, and finally, I would like to thank the Dean of Faculty of Art and Humanities for his effort with his vice deans and also heads of departments for organizing this nice day for the General Studium. And with all of this effort, we look forward to make other activities, especially with the United Arab Emirates, as we also expect more cooperation between some universities in Abu Dhabi, for example, or from Asharika. We need to have communication and also collaboration to spread peaceful life and also all of the good deeds in this earth so that we can promote the peaceful life, inshallah. On behalf of our university, Sharif Hidayatullah State Islamic University, I would like to welcome you all, and I wish you a fruitful discussion with the two speakers, and also have informed or have knowledge more about defending the coexistence in Indonesia, especially, and in the world, and also to deliver, to welcome all of the ideas from the speakers, inshallah. Thank you very much. I hope you a very nice stay in Indonesia for the His Excellency Ali Rashid with his entourage from United Arab of Emirates. Inshallah, we will see you again in Indonesia or in Abu Dhabi, inshallah. Thank you very much, and I hope you all have a very fruitful time in this morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for your welcoming speech, Professor Dr. Amani Lubis. The following session is prayer recitation. It will be led by Dr. Haji Adang Astari MA, the Senior Lecturer of Faculty of Adab and Humanities. To Mr. Adang, the time is yours.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. اللهم إنا نسألك فعل الخيرات وترك المنكرات وحب المساكين وأن تغفر لنا وترحمنا، ونسألك حبك وحب من يحبك وحب عمل يقربنا إلى حبك. اللهم إنا نسألك من الخير كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم، ونعوذ بك من الشر كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك بعبادك ونبيك، ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذ منه عبدك ونبيك. اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل، ونسألك أن تجعل كل قضاء قضيته لنا خيرا. اللهم اقسم لنا من خشيتك ما تحول به بيننا وبين معاصيك، ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك ومن اليقين ما تهون به علينا مصائب الدنيا اللهم متعنا بأسماعنا وأبصارنا وقواتنا ما أحييتنا واجعله الوارث منها واجعل ثأرنا على من ظلمنا وانصرنا على من عادانا ولا تجعل معصيتنا مصيبتنا في ديننا ودنيانا ولا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا ولا تسلط علينا من لا يرحمنا اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا محسونا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم بفضلك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Amin. Amin, Ya Rabbal Alamin. May Allah accept our prayers. Thank you to Mr. Adam. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the main session. It is public lecture about coexisting with diversity and accepting differences, which will be delivered by His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuaimi and the Honorable Mr. Andika Krishna Yudanto, SHLLM. In advance, we would like to invite Mr. Usep Abdul Matin, PhD, as the Vice Dean of Faculty of Adab and Humanities, to lead this discussion session. To Mr. Usep, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? My name is Usep Abdul Matin. I am a moderator of this Studium Generale. Honorable Professor Dr. Amani Burhanuddin Umar Lubis, LCMA, our Rector of Sharif Hidayatullah State Islamic University in Jakarta, and her vice rectors, respectable Bapak Saiful Umam PhD, the Dean of our Faculty of Adab and Humanities at Sharif Hidayatullah State Islamic University in Jakarta, and his vice deans, Honorable His Excellency Mr. Abdullah Salim Ad-Dahiri, the Embassy of the United Emirates Arab to the Republic of Indonesia. Respectable our Ayahanda, Professor Alwi Sihab, especially our distinguished panelists, His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi, and Bapak Andika Krishna Yudanto, SP, SH, MA. I'd like to invite our special guest speakers, His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi and Bapak Andika Krishna Yudanto to come to the stage. Good morning, everyone. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to welcome you all to this presentation. In this occasion, we would like to have presentations about maintaining our ability to coexist as well to accept differences. From our special panelists, Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi and Bapak Andika Krishna Yudanto. Before the presentation begins, allow me to introduce you the panelists briefly. To my right is His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi. He is the author of Coexisting dalam Keragaman dan Perbedaan. And I think that you have with you this book. Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi is a member of the UAE Federal National Council for the Emirate of Abu Dhabi and Chairman of the Defense Affairs, Interior and Foreign Affairs Committee of the Council. Dr. Ali An-Nuaimi is also a leading international expert on extremism and education. He has more than 30 years of outstanding academic and professional achievements in government, non-government, and private sectors within the United Arab Emirates and abroad. The next speaker is Bapak Andika Krishna Yudanto. He is a director of regional and multilateral cooperation at the National Counterterrorism Agency, Badan Nasional Penanggulangan Terorisme of the Republic of Indonesia. If you have an access into his Instagram, you will find his motto of life: calm down, forgive, and be nice. Tenang, maafkan, dan jadilah orang baik. A motto of life which corresponds to our topic of today. He obtained his MA in Foreign Affairs and Trade from Monash University in 2000. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to our distinguished speakers today. And I would like to give 40 minutes to each of our speakers. Without further ado, I would like to welcome the first speaker, His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi, to deliver the presentation. All right? Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi, the floor is yours.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Professor Amani, distinguished guest, my dear student, thank you very much. No, I will do it my way, okay? You see, I'll talk to the student, and by training, you know, I am an academician. I spent more than 37 years in the university. I stepped down as director of the largest public university in the UAE. So I'll go back, you know, to my role as a lecturer, and I'll do it my way. I'm sorry. You know, always, you know, I like speaking to the student because they are, you know, deep in my heart. I see the future in them. And this is where, when I speak to you, I see not only the future of Indonesia in you, but I see through you the way that the world will look at Islam. Because you don't represent yourself. Indonesia has the largest Muslim population. And the world look at you as a model for these great values that Islam has related to coexistence and acceptance and respect of others, regardless of the differences. You should be proud as Indonesian that you represent a version of Islam actually rooted in real Islam. Islam of peace, Islam of mercy, Islam of love. And also, you have to be proud of your rector. Professor Amani is not only doing a great job in managing this university, she is playing a regional and international role in promoting Islam as a religion of peace, as a religion of mercy and love. And this is what we have to understand and have to work hard, to promote globally. I was really amazed, surprised to know that this is the year of tolerance in Indonesia. We had the year of tolerance in the UAE in 2017. And when we started that, people were asking, why are you doing this? And by the way, the word tolerance does not reflect really the word of tasamuh in Arabic language. Tasamuh comes deep from your heart. But tolerance in English, the term, you tolerate others, okay, you are not like me, but, I will not challenge you, I'll accept you to a certain extent. But the word tasamuh is deep rooted in respect, acceptance, and appreciation also for others, deep from your heart. So the role that we play as Muslim when we come to talk about tasamuh, it's very important to understand it. It's not that something that we do for propaganda, but we do it because it is deep rooted in our religion. And this is why, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He said, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنَّمَا أَنَا رَحْمَةٌ مُهْدَى. The word mercy, you will see it everywhere. Actually, you can't pray without remembering mercy and peace. You end your prayer with what? Assalamu alaikum. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Afshu salam. Spread peace. This is why it's very important for you as Indonesians to value your great achievement, that you are representing a model of Islam that you should be proud of. In other places of the Muslim world, Islam is hijacked by those who used it as an ideology to serve their political agenda. The version of Islam that you have, we want, not you, we want the world to look at Islam through your version, not our version, that we have it in our area, which we are still suffering of those extremists and terrorists. I'm talking to you because there is those who want to hijack mind and heart and try to convince you that Islam is a religion of what? Of hate. And this is why from the beginning I started by mentioning that Islam is a religion of mercy. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لَيْسَ not for Muslim, but for what? Al-Alameen. And this is why I want to start by talking about the subject, the issue of coexistence. Diversity is a reality everywhere. You won't find one society with one religion, one ethnic, one color, one nationality. This does not exist. Everywhere, wherever you will go, in any country, in all community, you will see a very diverse community. People belong to different religion, even different madhab, different ethnic, maybe different color, different nationality. And wherever there is differences, it's either that those with these differences fight together to prove that their religion or their ethnic or their nationality is better than the others, or they have to learn how to live together with acceptance of their differences and respect to these differences. Acceptance and respect. This is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, in Mecca there was a small number of Muslims and the other are non-believer. But when he came to Medina, the first thing he did, he understood the fabric, the social fabric of the Medina community. From the beginning, he saw that there is Muslim, but there is also others. There is Jews in Medina and others. And this is where he started by putting the first constitution, Sahifat al-Madinah. When you read it, you understand the importance of coexistence. You understand the importance of acceptance of others and respect. When we talk about coexistence, it's not that something we see that we need it now. No, it's deep-rooted in our religion as Muslim. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ, he started with this. The first thing he did in Medina wasn't to teach the Muslim how to pray or how to fast or how to do zakah. The first thing he looked at is the security and stability of the community. And he understood that there is a very diverse community there. And he should put a law, regulation, constitution that will govern all, Muslim and non-Muslim. And this is where he wrote what we call Sahifat al-Madinah. All of you should read this. This is at the beginning. Not only that, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the end of his life, after he became to Medina, the 9th year of Hijrah, he started receiving those delegations from all over the Arabian Peninsula, Muslim and non-Muslim. And in that year, he received a delegation from Najran, Christian from Najran. And you see, I'm mentioning this because this is at the end of his life. They came to the Prophet ﷺ in his mosque, Al-Masjid al-Nabawi. And they came wearing what? Their cross. Everybody saw them with these. they are distinguished by this cross. And they start talking to the Prophet ﷺ, not to become a Muslim, but to saying that we want to live in peace with you. And he didn't try to make da'wah to invite them to Islam. He started talking to them. And then suddenly they stood and they wanted to leave the mosque. And the Prophet ﷺ, to where? Ila ayn. And they said, it's time for our prayer. And the Prophet ﷺ said, you pray here. They prayed their prayer as Christian in the Al-Masjid al-Nabawi, in the mosque of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Even they spent the night there. They slept in the mosque. And it showed you how the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam saw the importance of sending a message to whom? To the Muslim, to the Sahaba, about acceptance of others with the differences, about the respect to them, even allowing them to pray their prayer as Christian in the mosque and also to sleep in the mosque. We talk about this because this is the only path that we see to have security and stability and prosperity in any society. It's either we use religion as the platform to bring us together, to promote the common values that we have, and to engage in building our community and society and protecting our nation, or we use the religion as those extremists and terrorists want us to do, to divide us and engage us in a fight that will not end. It's very important to understand that religion has a role to play. You are part of an Islamic university, and this role is very important and crucial in what? In bringing people together, in promoting peace, and also in promoting love and mercy with everyone in that community. And this is why it's very important that for you in Indonesia to understand that with this diverse community, you have different religion, different madhab, different ethnic, okay? The only thing will unify the community, bring all Indonesian together, is being what? Indonesian. Your inclusive citizenship, being loyal to your nation, that's the only thing will bring all Indonesian together. And this is very important. And this does not contradict with being a Muslim. Actually, being a Muslim is the real player, or the major player in sending the right message to others, that we accept you and we respect you and we are willing to live with you regardless of our differences. Occasionally you will find that some of the youth who are, who love Islam and want to promote Islam, they think that they will be able to impose their understanding of Islam on others. And, we as Muslims, we had these differences for centuries. We have many madhab, we have many sectors. It's either in aqidah or fiqh, always there is differences. You have to understand that this is your understanding, but you have to respect the understanding of others. You can't impose your version of Islam or understanding of Islam on others. This has been there for centuries. And because those ulama, imam, didn't solve it and didn't try to impose their version or understanding of Islam, you shouldn't do that. You should respect others in the way that they look at Islam and understand Islam. And it's very important that you understand in Indonesia that you can actually teach the other Muslim how to live with the differences. Islam came to Indonesia not by war, but by those who came with the akhlaq, the behavior, the way that they dealt with others, by the mercy that they have in their deep heart toward others. And this is the way why Islam spread in this area. We need you to teach the Muslim in all over the world how to spread Islam, how to promote Islam, how to represent Islam. This is something that your grandparents did. You should be proud of it, and you should stick with it and do the same as they did. And be careful not to follow others in our region, because unfortunately many in our region, their mind and heart were hijacked by those extremists and terrorists who try to use Islam against others and against Muslims. And I'll give you an example now. Afghanistan. Now Afghanistan is ruled by Muslim. But almost every week there is a terrorist attack by Muslim on Jum'ah prayer. Almost every week there is tens of Muslims are killed by Muslim because of what? Because the way they think that their understanding of Islam is the right and the others, their understanding is wrong, and they have to impose on that. This is why I emphasize that you have to maintain the understanding of Islam that rooted in Indonesia, that your grandparents had. Keep it, maintain it, protect it, be proud of it, and try to teach other Muslims about it. Coexistence, we need it as individual, we need it as a society, we need it as a nation, with this diversity and with the differences. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't create us the same. Even here, we are different. Different in our color, different in our eyes, nose, the way we look, different in our taste, different in so many things. We have to respect these differences. What you see in this hall, the differences that we have, this is almost the same everywhere. And not only as us as individual, but also in the way that we look at life, the way that we look at religion, the way that we look at how should we be part of our community and the global at the end. And this is where we as Muslims have to understand the issue of identity. Sometimes we have an issue with the identity. Sometimes we say, oh, we are Muslim, but we don't mention our nation. And this is a very important issue that we have to understand. You, being Indonesian and being a Muslim, does not contradict, they complement each other. And if you say, no, I am part of the Ummah, you see, which Ummah? Islam is a religion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent it to everyone. At the end, regardless of our area that we live in, our color, our ethnic, our nationality, Islam is there. So it's very important to see that all these identity that we have, they complement each other. But at the end, because we are living in the 21st century, we have to understand that we need a system to rule. And this is what we call the constitution, the laws that the nation, develop and try to implement. Islam urges you to respect the constitution, the laws, because without these you can't live in peace and harmony. And this is why it's very important to see yourself as Indonesian, as a unique nation. Don't ever think that what suits you, should be somewhere else, or don't try to import a version of Islam or others that will suit you. What that will implement it, you want to implement in Indonesia. No. Develop your own version that comply with the constitution, the laws, the regulation, and your heritage, your tradition, and the understanding of Islam that you have. We as Muslims are facing so many challenges. We in the UAE, United Arab Emirates, we believe that the model that we were able to develop in having about 200 nationality, living in UAE in peace and harmony, and enjoying a lifestyle that had the acceptance and respect of everyone, is the thing that we are proud of. And we think that's because our leadership had a vision related to what? To being open, to accept others, respect others, and engage with others. Now, with the internet and social media, you can't isolate yourself. But you, as Muslim students especially, you should immune yourself from the bad effect of social media that might come from outside. And this is where it's very important to understand the role of social media now. How can you play a role in it to protect yourself, immune yourself, and also engage in a positive way in your society to use social media to promote what? To promote the values that you have as Indonesian. This is what we are doing in the UAE. This is what we are proud of. And this is the thing that we always try to share with others. We are not asking others to copy, no. But we are asking them to learn from the lesson that we have and develop their own version. My dear student, coexistence is the only path for security, stability, prosperity for all of us. This is why it's very important to promote these values and create your path in engaging with these values as individual, as a family, as a society, and as a nation. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi, for your excellent presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to our Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi once again. Now I would like to welcome our second speaker, Bapak Andika Krishna Yudanto. All right, Pak Andika, the time is yours.
Thank you, moderator, and let me use this lecture board because I think it's been standing here for some time. But again, I would like to take off my robe, but I don't have a robe. If I take off my shirt, I'll be half naked inside here. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Of course, distinguished, I have so many distinguished persons and VIPs in this room. First, allow me to greet Director of the UIN, Professor Amani Lubis. Certainly, it's an honor for us to be invited here at the National Counterterrorism Agency to speak on the behalf of the National Counterterrorism Agency. I've also the former Minister of the Foreign Affairs, Mr. Alwi Shiab. Certainly, it's an honor to be here standing in front of you, sir, because I was serving my time in the Foreign Ministry for when I was started in my early days in the Foreign Ministry, and I've always looked to you when you're in front of us, and then I would listen to you intently. Thank you very much for being here today. And of course, His Excellency, Mr. Abdullah Salem Al-Daheri, the Ambassador of the UAE to the Republic of Indonesia. Certainly, it's an honor for us, Excellency. And of course, the distinguished speaker, His Excellency, Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuaimi. Of course, he is my boss because he is the chairman of the Board of Governors of the Hidayah, which Indonesia is also a member of. And of course, we always listen to our chairman whenever he speaks. And certainly, it was a delight to listen to you this morning. And of course, I would say the honors to the Dean of the Faculty of Adab and what's it called? Adab and Humanities. Again, this is, I was looking whether there was the faculty was named Humanities, but they still use the word Adab. And again, I find that very important because it does showcase the gesture of being polite. And I think this is stemming from the word Adab. Again, to all the members of the Vice Rectorate of the UN, certainly it's a pleasure for me to be here today to speak on this. Today's topic is a very important topic, in particular for the National Counterterrorism Agency. Of course, when you look at us, why is BNPT here? We have someone already speaking on living in coexistence, living in a way that we see, and how do we accept differences. I think this is the message that is coming in from His Excellency, which is very important. But there's other works, and probably BNPT is just a small stone in a big vase of how we live as a society in Indonesia, to live in a coexistence, and of course to live in harmony, and of course to live in means for accepting differences. And I believe this stems from our motto, our national motto, which is Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, unity in diversity. And this is something that Indonesia can showcase. And of course, one of the main elements of that, what has been mentioned by His Excellency, was that if you, Indonesia can showcase, because you're the largest, most populous Muslim country in the world, you have to have something that you can showcase to the world. And that is Indonesians that live in harmony, that lives in peace. And of course, how Indonesian portrays Islam outside, not just in Indonesia, but in the region as well as at the global level. So these are some of the important things. Let me go down to a brief description of why I may be here. I was talking to Pak Saiful a couple of days ago, and Pak Saiful wanted to showcase how Indonesia is fighting against terrorism. And of course, in the fight against terrorism, without peaceful coexistence, without accepting differences, I think the fight against terrorism would then be futile. So looking into that, let me showcase, I have a presentation. I don't have the art of Dr. Ali Rashid in speaking in public, and I need PowerPoint to help me so I could get my points into power. If I may, take there. So the overview. So if you're looking at the global overview, where we are at when we're looking into fighting terrorism, there's two reports that comes out, and it is, I think, quite useful for us to look at what is the global landscape when it comes to terrorism. There are two large international organizations. The first one is called Al-Qaeda. We've seen that impact because of the 9/11 that transpired in the United States in 2021. And then, of course, the Bali bombing was also promulgated by Al-Qaeda. Then you have another group which has gained international attention from 2014 onwards, which is the ISIL, or the Islamic State in Syria and Iraq. Now, in Iraq and Syria. Now, although ISIL has lost its battleground, it's lost its territory since 2019 and has been defeated by the Assad government, the Syrian government. However, the latest prison attack in Hasaka showcased that ISIL is still there. And the problem of having these two large international terrorist organizations is the fact that they are also expanding their influence into other regions. The latest development is that we have never thought that it would go to other regions such as Africa, but now Africa is one of those regions that is being influenced by the power play of ISIS as well as Al-Qaeda. And of course, the South Asia, with the cause in Afghanistan, there is still the ISIS Khorasan, which is also causing problem of terrorism, and I think and in Central Asia as well. What about in Southeast Asia, where Indonesia is situated? It is believed that the influence of ISIL has receded. So there is a low number of attacks perpetrated or influenced or inspired by ISIL. But again, the problems of terrorism in Southeast Asia, what we are looking after is the fact of lone wolf attacks, as well as attacks that is inspired by the propaganda of ISIL or Al-Qaeda in that way. So the global overview, I think one that we should look at is that terrorism feeds, and the dynamism of terrorism feeds upon conflict areas. So when you can see, if you're looking at the map of the world, Africa is a region that is prone to violence, conflicts. The same thing can be said of South Asia as well as Central Asia. There you have a growing number of terrorism cases, attacks, and events, and thereby. But then again, when you're looking into a region that's more peaceful, the issue is about attacks that is being inspired or attacks that is being conducted by a lone wolf, but not by major large organizations or terrorist organizations. Now, moving on to that, there are two important documents, studies that can be referred to when you're looking into the next slide, which is on the regional level of terrorism. If you're looking at Indonesia, yes, based on the Global Terrorism Index in 2020, we fell down by, I think, 5 places. We were at 37 ranking last time, but now we fell down to 24, and I think one of the major problems for Indonesia is the fact that violence still occurs in Papua. So this is the first time that the Global Terrorism Index had looked into issues of violence perpetrated by criminal armed groups in the Papua region. So that is why we fell down on the index. But again, Indonesia is still considered as a medium impacted country by terrorism. Then when you're looking at the Global Peace Index for Indonesia, we fell down by 2 or 3 points. Previously, we were number 42, now we're at number 47. Now, one of the causes for the fall in that is that, of course, the level of terrorism attacks have decreased in Indonesia, but the peacefulness, again, the variables for indicating peacefulness in Indonesia, there's a slight deterioration, and one of them is the large demonstration that was conducted in country And I think in 2020 that was with regard to, for example, the omnibus law. So again, this is some of the features when you're looking into security and peace with Indonesia. We're falling down, but again, with the peace index, Indonesia is still considered as a country that is highly peaceful. So again, there is no meaningful conflict within Indonesia, within the context of terrorism itself. Violence is very much has been decreasing, but again, some of the areas in Indonesia, such as Papua, is a growing concern when we're looking into the issue of terrorism. Now, the same thing can be said in the same level. The Global Terrorism Index for 2022 actually is a good sign, where they also saw that there is a decrease of terrorism events for countries in the region, such as the Philippines. They were the top 10 countries that was considered as highly impacted by terrorism, but in 2022, that place 10 was then replaced by Myanmar because of the political instability that has been occurring since 2021. And the same thing can be said for the Global Peace Index, which the Philippines now is among those countries that are considered have bettered themselves. Unfortunately, Myanmar fell down a couple of numbers within the region because of the political instability. So this is where we are at when we're looking at the region itself. Moving on. As an overview at the national level, when the pandemic started in 2020, we had, in 2019, there were around 300 arrests for terrorist suspects. In 2020, because when the start of the pandemic, there was a decrease of numbers of terrorist suspects that were arrested, amounting to around 200. But in 2021, there is another increase of terrorist suspects being arrested. Around 370 individuals are arrested. And one thing that stood out was that the two large terrorist organizations in Indonesia, before it was the Jama'ah Ansarud Daulah that was being arrested by the police, but in 2021 we saw a number rise, half of the numbers of arrests were due regards to the Jama'ah Islamiyah. Now, what is the police chief in 2021 also reported that terrorist attacks in Indonesia have fallen down by 53.8%. So the terrorist attacks have been mitigated to around 53.8% of terrorist attacks in Indonesia. So this is a welcoming development for Indonesia. That attacks has been minimalized, but of course there's a rise numbers of arrests, and it could only mean one thing, that the law number 5 of 2018 is starting to work, because the police, I believe, do have the means for capturing individuals that are deemed to be preparing terrorist acts. So these are some of the things that are working. But also, BNPT, for example, in 2021 conducted a survey involving 34 provinces of Indonesia, conducted by the Coordinating Forum for Prevention of Terrorism, which is called the FKPT. And the result was, I think, is quite worrisome, whereas there is a tendency that younger women, have the tendency to be more radicalized than their male peers. So this is one of the findings based on that particular survey. And the other thing is that much of those, the targets of violent extremist groups are still focusing on youth, particularly those that are millennials, Generation Z, and of course, those that are living in the urban settings. So these are some of the things that are quite concerning when we're looking at the trends of terrorism. The Sufan Center conducted a study in 2021 also in June, where they came out with 3 important trends of terrorism in the future. One of them is that suicide bombing is still a modus operandi or the tools as means for terrorists in the region in Southeast Asia. The other one is the increasing nature of women getting involved in terrorism, not just as supporters but also as perpetrators. And the third is that online radicalization, when it took them years to radicalize a person, but right now with online you can do it within months and a person is then highly radicalized. The case in point, for example, is the young woman that attacked the police headquarters in Jakarta in 2021, was radicalized in a very short period because of the means through online mechanism. So these are some of the things that are quite worrying, and I think this is why Dr. Ali's speech is very important today, that we actually need to showcase how Islam is a religion of moderation and also a religion that promotes peace and of course peaceful coexistence and of course accepting differences rather than highlighting the differences itself. Now moving on to that, how is Indonesia, the government, working on this? One of them is that Indonesia has adopted, has a law on counterterrorism. I believe it's quite a comprehensive set of laws. It follows a hard and soft approach. The hard approach being that it focuses on law enforcement, and the soft approach focuses on the prevention means, and of course for Indonesia, they would focus on counter-radicalization, national preparedness, and of course the other one relates to de-radicalization. So these are some of the strategies that Indonesia is using when we're looking into countering terrorism based on the hard and the soft approach. Another one that Indonesia has is the National Action Plan on preventing and countering violent extremism. This was adopted through Presidential Regulation number 7 of 2021. If we can move to the next slide, please. And this is where we are at. And I think when we're looking into what's happening in the society, why are individuals, why are groups engaging in violent extremism, there are two factors. One is the conditions conducive, and that is the push factor, the pull factor. For example, economic hardship, human rights condition, law enforcement that is not injustice. Again, a number of things that it becomes a pull factor for individuals or organization, for example. The other one is the push factors, such as what is the individuals, why is the individual being pushed to take the steps of violent extremism. And of course there's a number of areas why these individuals, and there is no one single factor that you can create an individual into becoming a violent extremist. And therefore this is why the government came up with this presidential regulation on the National Action Plan on preventing and countering violent extremism. In Bahasa we call it RAN-PE. The aims and the objective of this RAN-PE is actually to provide means for the government to secure the safety of every Indonesian individuals from the harm of violent extremism. And then there are a number of things that the government is working on. It is a whole of government, whole of society approach towards implementing the National Action Plan. It is based on 3 important pillars. There is the pillar on prevention, and the pillar on law enforcement, and the third pillar is on international cooperation and partnership. And I think one of the most important thing is the pillar on partnership, where we are working with the civil society organizations to conduct activities that relate to this National Action Plan. It has 130 activities. The activities to be conducted is from 2020 to 2024. Now, moving on to that, the first pillar consists of 82 activities. The second pillar consists of 33 activities, and the third pillar consists of 15 activities. So far in 2021, we have conducted 70 activities with 249 activities that have been conducted by ministries and agencies. So when you're looking at the National Action Plan, there is 48 ministries and agencies that are responsible to implement this 130 activities. 70 of them is being implemented in 2021, and that consists of 249 activities conducted by 48 of the ministries and agencies. Most of the activities are conducted within the prevention pillar, and of course this is one of the most important pillar because the activity of preventing terrorism is of course through preventative measures. Now moving from that, there are some other things that with the National Action Plan, and I think one of them is how when you're looking into how do you build that peaceful coexistence, accepting differences, that work is not with the central government or the capital, but the work should be done within the region and the provinces. And one of the fact is that the Home Affairs Minister has circulated a letter to all the provinces in Indonesia to come up with their means for implementing the National Action Plan. And of course, moving down to the other parts of the slides, please. Is what is the theme of this talks today, and that is the prevention means how to build that peaceful coexistence, how to build a community that is resilient from violent extremism. One of them is promoting critical thinking within the education sector, and I believe this is an important element of that. If you wish to live in a peaceful coexistence, one of the means for that is also to build that critical thinking from harms such as violent extremism. So that is one of the aims of that particular means for building that community resilience within the National Action Plan. And from there on, and I think this is a good improvement of how the government works, and that the National Action Plan is not the ownership of the central government, but also there's a sense of ownership within the regions as well. And that's moving to the next, the last slide of this presentation, and that is focused on some couple of provinces that do have now, and they have enacted this in 2022. And that is from Central Sulawesi, who has now a regional action plan on preventing and countering violent extremism. Also the, and this is quite surprising, the Acehnis province now has a regional action plan on preventing and countering violent extremism. And the last is the province of West Java now has a regional action plan on preventing and countering violent extremism. So these are some of the works that I believe if you're working through a government, central government, you need to push the policies at the level, at the local government level in order for your action plan to actually work, because it is after all a grassroots level work. And that is one of them is building that community resilience, and among those pillars, among those principles, is the principles of peaceful coexistence, and of course, living and accepting the facts that there are differences, and of course, our symbol of unity and diversity should be adhered to by all Indonesians. So that would be ending my speech. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much, Bapak Andika, for your excellent presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to Pak Andika once again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to a question and answer session. There will be only 2 sessions, and each session is for 3 questions. Please don't forget to mention your name. Any question? Please stand up and raise your hands. So, okay. Let me start from the front, okay? Rizal, and the second one would be, please stand up. Are you Alia, yeah? Alia. And another one would be the one in the corner. Okay. We have 3 people first for 3 questions. Yeah? That would be delivered to our distinguished speakers. Please, Rizal.
Tes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for excellent presentation. My name is Rizal Taufikur Rahman, as head of the Student Executive Council of the Adab and Humanity Faculty. I would like to ask His Holiness Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuaimi and Mr. Andika Krishna Yudanto, what will you do to overcome the tension between modernity and orthodoxy, and can we forge cooperation in Islamic uplifting peace as we have in our university religious moderation program? Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Rizal. Yeah. The second would be you, Alia.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. My name is Auleni Salamsyah, my first year student of English Literature Study Programs. Thank you for your important lectures. My question goes to Bapak Andika. Can you tell us your successful programs of BNPT in educating narapidana terrorists? And my second question goes to His Excellency, Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuaimi. Can you share us your successful story to overcome radicalism by your website of Hidayat? Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Alia. And the last one would be the one in the corner, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Not you, not yet. Yes. Maybe in the second session. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Muhammad Juang. I'm an English literature student from Syarif Hidayatullah State Islamic University, Jakarta. For the first, I want to ask Mr. Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuaimi. Like what you said before, you said that Allah is not made us in the same form. And I believe that that is the reason behind that. And as we know that Indonesia have so many cultures ethnicities, and religions. And my question is, how to make that differences to be our strength, to make our country to shine in international aspect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have 3 questions, two to Dr. Ali and to Pak Andika. I think 3. To you is 3. So I would like to invite Dr. Ali first to respond to the question.
What's the first question?
The first question is about how to overcome the tension between the orthodoxy and modernity. Yeah. And he said that here we have the program of religious moderation, and he wants to learn about overcoming these tensions from you. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, it's very important to understand that Islam as a religion came for all humanity, for all period. It didn't come only for a certain region or for a certain period. And this is why it's very important to understand that Islam can accommodate all society, all culture, and not to create or enforce a certain culture on a certain people. This is why, you know, during the Islamic civilization, Muslims in different of the part of the world, they wore different clothes. Also, you know, they eat different food. You know, they have different behavior. Islam didn't impose on them something that they are not used to it. This is where, you know, customs should be accommodated. One of the major challenges that we were facing as Muslim, that at a certain period, we call it the dark ages because al-ijtihad is one of the source, you know, for ahkam was closed by some of those who thought that, you know, those ulama and ai who lived 100 years ago, they already explained everything. They didn't understand the changes in each lives. And this is where it's very important to understand that Islam is a very flexible religion to accommodate, accept different culture, and respect them, and consider them at the end part of Islam. Islam is a global religion. You see, and it's very important to understand that, and not to be, you know, hijacked by those who think that there is only one version of Islam. We have different madhab, you see, and things are changing. Even, you know, with our financial system, let me give you this, with our financial system, the new financial system that we have in banking system. 40, 50 years ago, many ulama, they said that this is haram. Many of them now are changing their mind because they didn't understand it at that time. And now they understand that this does not contradict Islam. We have to understand this. Sometimes, you know, we contradict ourselves. We say Islam for all humanity. But when it's come to applying Islam, we want to impose our understanding of Islam in a certain place on all Muslims. Islam is a religion by itself. It has its own source of strength and accommodating all others. You know, I lived in the US for 6 years. There is no single city without a mosque. Islam is spreading everywhere. It's not spreading because we are trying to promote Islam. because it is by itself has the root to do so. I'll give you one example. Before 8 years, I was in Chicago, and I met one of the officials over there. He told me, Ali, do you know that there is 49 mosques in Chicago? You have to understand Islam is everywhere. And this is where it's very important to see Islam as a religion that we can live with it. The major challenge, it's very important for you this. The major challenge that we are facing now, that some of our ulama are promoting a narrative of Islam which is convincing to them, not to the youth. We need, and we have to do it, to develop a narrative of Islam that convincing to the youth and engaging them. And this is the real challenge. The issue, it's not modernization, it's accepting Islam as it is. Islam is a very flexible religion. Remember, when it came to Indonesia, it didn't change the culture. It didn't change the way that your people, eat or dress or enjoy their daily life. Actually, it's accommodate all that. It's different one than what Islam did to the people in Central Asia or in Western Africa. Islam is a very flexible religion that can accommodate all of this, all of that.
And the second question for you is about sharing a successful story of countering terrorism by the website of Hidayah.
It's not a website, it's a center. Okay. Hidayah is an international center based in Abu Dhabi. It was created by the Global Forum for Counterterrorism, which consists of 29 countries plus the EU, and Indonesia is one of the founding of this global forum and also is a member at the steering board of Hidayah. And this Hidayah center was created to counter terrorism not by the security tools but by an intellectual, because we believe, we came to an understanding that the war against terrorism is a war of ideas. And Islam is used as an ideology to serve a political agenda. This is where Hidayah came. Our major program that we started is to develop national CV plan for all countries. And we engage in many countries in that. The second thing is building national capacity. We believe that each country should rely on its own human resources, on people. This is why we engage in many programs to develop national capacity. And this is what we did also in Indonesia, because this is a matter of national security. You can't rely on others to protect your national security. You have to develop your people, engage them, and make sure that they are qualified to do the job. Also, what we did some training for imam, because we believe that countering terrorism should be inclusive and should be based on prevention and should include all the stakeholders in the society. This is what we did in Hidayah. We trained the police, the community police, we trained judges, we trained imam, even we trained some on the social media activists to counter extremism. And it's very important to say this now. We will not be able to counter terrorism unless we go to the root and counter extremism. And our, countering extremism should be based on prevention, and this is very important to engage all stakeholders, especially the educational system, to immune the new generation from being the radicalized, and also to engage the religious leaders, in promoting the right narrative that counter hate and extremism within the Muslim community.
The third question would be, what would you recommend that we Indonesians in Indonesia excel in promoting coexisting with diversity and accepting differences?
I think you are already doing this, and you have a leadership that believe in this, and you have many stakeholders, community leaders, religious leaders who are engaged in this. The only threat that you have, that these terrorist organizations that work in Southeast Asia, in our region, and in other places, try actually to use the social media, the internet, to promote their organization, to do fundraising and to recruit. And this is where it's very important. You see that it's part of your personal responsibility actually to play your role as a citizen to protect your national security. You should understand that protecting Indonesia from the threat of terrorism and extremism is not the security agency responsibility only. No, it's the responsibility of everyone. And this is where you have to engage in promoting the narrative of coexistence, the narrative of tolerance, the narrative of being, proud as Indonesian, and you care about the security and stability of Indonesia. And you consider yourself, regardless of your job, wherever you are, a soldier to protect the national interests of Indonesia.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ali Rashid and Nuaimi, for your great responses. There are still two interconnected questions to Bapak Andika. The one was asking your recommendation to solve the problem or the tension between modernity and orthodoxy in religion, especially in Islam. And it is connected to the second question about sharing your successful program in countering terrorism.
Thank you very much. I think the first question was really eloquently answered by Your Excellency. But let me give this. I'm not an Islamic scholar. But when we look, I think one of the means is that when you're looking into modernity versus Islamic orthodoxy or something like that, in a way, one of the solutions would be the so-called religious moderation. This has been, I think, since 2015. This was a movement that has transpired since Malaysia, for example, took the ASEAN chairmanship in 2015, where they came out with the Langkawi Declaration that pushes for the global movement of moderates. So it is a movement. It's not something new in Indonesia. Their concept is based on the concept of Islamic wasatiyah, to when across religion that you would moderate your values, but it doesn't mean you moderate your values as being an Islam or as a Muslim. So this, I think, is one of the means for enhancing that peaceful coexistence, accepting differences. And I think, of course, when you're looking into moderation, I think it's an important concept. And I believe that, for example, the government right now is planning to have a national action plan on religious moderation. And I think that is an important element, that if the academicians, especially the think tanks, the society, the younger generation could promote this way of life of being moderates, is something of an important value, rather than looking into modernity versus orthodoxy. Something that I believe is an important element, and I think Dr. Rashid have mentioned it already. Now, on the success of BNPT, or the National Counterterrorism Agency, and I think the question was posed on how, what are the success rate with regard to de-radicalization program in Indonesia. And I think one has to look at the de-radicalization program from human rights perspective. And the important element of the de-radicalization program is that this is a program that is not forced on individuals. So people that have been incarcerated, or they are a napiter, the term was that, napiterorisme, they are not obligated to undergo de-radicalization program. It is voluntary in nature. So for those who undergo the de-radicalization program, we could say there's a great success in that. But there are also individuals that do not undergo de-radicalization program. One of them is, for example, Abu Bakar Bashir. He did not go through that. But there are other napiter that have successfully underwent the program, and then I think he passed with flying colors, and that was, I think, one of them is, for example, Umar Patek, who showcased that he is now part of the largest setting of the Indonesian population. He believes in Pancasila, and he, of course, is committed to the unitary Republic of Indonesia. So again, these are some of the things that I believe showcases the importance of the radicalization program. But of course, any program that is being conducted by the government should be aware of the human rights nature of it, and of course the principles of cautionary principles. Yep.
Thank you very much, Andika, for your remarkable responses. So we come to the second question and answer sessions. I think there were 6 people previously, and please raise your hand and stand up. Yuni, right? Okay. And the second one is Anis, and the third one would be Yunus. Yeah. Okay. And the fourth one is Pa Faizal. Okay. Yeah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. I am Yunisha Fitri Ritonga, a student of Tarjama study program. As we know that we live in digital era where self-radicalization online must exist. Do you think that the self-radicalization online accelerates the radicalization process, which widely attributed to the misuse of information and communication technology, including increased use of social media? What is the best solution for that? I would like to ask Pak Andika to answer my question. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much, Yuni from Tarjama study program. Okay. Okay, the second one would be Yunus. Yeah. Okay, Yunus.
Okay, cek. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Firstly, I would like to thank to the moderator, Bapak Usep Abdul Matin, who has given me this very special opportunity to deliver my question. Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Yusra Madani, and I'm a student of the Arabic Language Literature Study Program. Okay, my question is for Bapak Andika and His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid Anuaimi. My question is, what is actually a more prevalent terrorist tactic both in Southeast Asia and the Middle East? And what do you recommend that we handle it? Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Yunus. Yeah, we have double Y initial. Yeah, Yunus, and now the third one would be Anis.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anis Wazirotul Muhtar, a student of the Islamic History and Civilization Study Program. My question is for Dr. Ali. Can you help me to explain about Islam as Rahmatan lil Alamin in its connection to our topic today? Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Anis. The last one would be Pak Faizal.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before I ask a question, I'm so sorry, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Usep, because my handphone, the Google Translate is not connecting with the network. So if my English is not good, yeah, it's very good, maybe. Okay, my name is Faizal Arifin. I'm a lecturer of History and Islamic Civilization. Thank you. I think I'm the only lecturer to be brave as a question without Google Translate. Okay, my question is based on book that written by Ali Rashid Al-Nuaimi. In the Charter of Medina, I think we need not only education and counter on terrorism and extremism program, but I think we need to have two primary issues. First, on economic issue, and the second, issues of law and justice. Why I think it is important? Because the extreme groups or radical groups have a promise. Example, promise a nation with good economics, promise a nation with a good law and justice. And I think not only education and we educate diversity and accepting differences, but only we need to take the issue about economics and law and justice. How about two main issues on counter terrorism and radicalism? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Faizal. Yes, I would like first to invite His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid Anuaimi to answer two interconnected questions, I think. A more prevalent tactic of terrorism in the Middle East and how to handle that problem. I think it is strongly connected to perpetuating Islam as rahmatan lil alamin, which might be a solution, yeah, to that problem. The time is yours.
Well, you know, I think it's very important to understand the threat that you are facing in Indonesia and in the region. And the main terrorist groups that is working globally and using Islam as an ideology to serve their political agenda are Al-Qaeda and ISIS or Daesh. I don't like using their name, Islamic State. They don't represent Islam at all. In Southeast Asia, sometimes they have different names, like in Central Asia, they use Al-Nahda, Hizb al-Tahrir, Jama'ah Islamiyya, Abu Sayyaf in southern Philippines. But at the end, they are hijacking Islam, the religion that we believe a religion of peace and mercy, and it's our responsibility, not non-Muslim, we as Muslim, it's our responsibility to get back our religion and protect it from those who hijacked it and present it to the world as it is. And let me tell you this story. You know, in southern Philippines, there is a war that has been there for more than 40 years. And I went in 2018 to Mindanao to meet with the Muslim leaders. And I met about 170 of them, like in a hall like this. And I, you know, because the government said, we engage in a negotiation with them, they agreed, but when it comes to signing the ceremony, they don't show up because of the narrative and the threat of those terrorist organizations. So I went there, I stayed with them, I engaged in a discussion and a dialogue, and at the end, they were convinced and they signed the treaty, the peace treaty, and it's ongoing, you know, the agreement. But there is a challenge that there is still Abu Sayyaf group and ISIS or Daesh. But they are not in the city or the villages anymore. They are in the jungle, in the mountains. The good things that the people over there in the small community, they understood what kind of threat that these terrorist organizations are bringing to their community and to the future of their kids. And that was my argument with the leadership of the Muslim over there. So we have to understand that these terrorist organizations, although they will present a video having verses of Quran or saying of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in YouTube or Instagram, and then you will feel that this is Islam, because the way that it is developed, the narrative that they integrate in these videos, you have to be careful. Those terrorist organizations, they have killed Muslims more than any other organization or any threat that the Muslim faced in the 20th and 21st century. I mentioned to you Afghanistan. Every week, there is an attack on Jum'ah prayer while these Muslims are praying. By whom? By those Daesh, ISIS groups. They are killing Muslims in the name of what? In the name of Islam. So it's very important to understand that they serve an agenda that will undermine the development of our country and our nation, an agenda that will hijack the heart and the mind of the youth, an agenda that will make us always suffer, and not to engage in developing a new civilization as the rest of the world are doing. And this is where it's very important to understand that these are our real enemy. They don't want a bright future for all of you. And when they promise so many things, as you mentioned, we saw what ISIS did in Iraq and Syria. We saw the way they dealt with women. We saw how they killed their enemy and killed whom? Innocent people. That's not Islam. They did it in the name of Islam. But actually, they killed Muslim in the name of Islam, and that's not Islam. Mentioning that Islam, how is a religion of peace. When I mentioned in Arabic language, maybe those who are specialized in Arabic language, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, it means we didn't send you for anything. We send you only, to be a mercy. And this is where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إِنَّمَا أَنَا رَحْمَةٌ مُهْدَةٌ. I am a gift of mercy to all of you. And it's very important to see this mercy. It's not only to Muslims, to everyone. And this mercy in everything. In our prayer, and even in the way that Islam regulates your life. The way that you deal with your neighbor. The way that you protect your community. You make sure that the road, the street are clean. In everything. Islam taught us how to be clean. Even your smell, Islam did care about it. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that those who eat onions or garlic, they don't go to the mosque. Why? Because their smell will be annoying to others. Look how this religion look at you as a person, that you have to enjoy your life in everything. Even enjoying the smell. He doesn't want you and doesn't allow others to annoy you by their smell, even to attend the prayer. That's not accepted. And this is where we have to understand when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, طه ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى. Our religion is a religion of mercy to all of us. Not only to human being, even to the bird, to the trees, to everything in life. When you want to protect the environment, follow the spirit and the rule of Islam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ali, Rashid, and Nuaimi for your great responses. The next questions go to Pa Andika. So there are two questions. One is about self-radicalism, self-radicalization online, whether it accelerates the radicalization process itself, and what is the best solution for that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think one of my presentations did look into that. There was a study by Sufan Center in 2021 in June. One of the trends of terrorism is actually that online self-radicalization accelerates the process of radicalization. Unfortunately, that process is being conducted toward the youth So there is one of the cases that we saw earlier in 2021 was when a young woman entered the police headquarters in Jakarta and then started shooting someone with the airsoft gun. So this is, and she was radicalized within months. Before, it took years to radicalize a person or victim of that, of radicalization itself. But now with online mechanism, you can do it within months, and then that person is ready to perpetrate terrorist acts. So I would agree to it. The solution would be, I think one of the means is that although we're living, there's the usefulness of the internet, the information technology, and it has blessed us, especially in this time of the pandemic. You're shopping online, you're doing a lot of things online, even meeting through online as well. But there's a need to increase digital literacy. And I think this is the important element. If you have, I see a lot of kids, for example, using gadgets, but their parents don't teach them why they should use the gadget. What is the utility of having a gadget? There's always this presence that you just allow them to browse whatever they want. So again, there's a need to promote digital literacy within the younger generation. And another one I think is very important, and this is one of the elements within the National Action Plan, and that is to promote critical thinking. Of course, we need to digest the information that we're obtaining, and just not take it as face value. So, and that is one of those important things that we have to do. One of them is promoting digital literacy, and the other one is about promoting critical thinking within the younger generation.
And I think digital literacy is also very important in the sense that most of the information coming up in digital space without peer reviews. Yeah? So digital literacy is highly important. Okay, the second question, I think it is Faisal. He was saying that radicalization, extremism, terrorism occur not only due to one single aspect of life, that is religious ideology, but it must be multiple, especially economy. So what do you think about that?
There's not one factor that leads an individual to become an extremist. Because if you're poor, you become an extremist, or if you're rich, you become an extremist. But there's a number of factors that influence an individual to lead a life through violent extremism. It could be a case of economic hardship, and then there's and by circumstances, he has met a ulama that is very hard, very strong in his views or her views. And of course, this is where that person, because of sense of adventurism, took the path of being a violent extremist. So, of course, and this is why, for example, we all know in cases where we're looking at rehabilitation and integration of terrorists, there's always, there's not one size fits all approach, but a tailor-made approach, because differences in the factors that influence an individual on taking the road to violent extremism.
Okay, thank you very much, Bapak Andika and His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi. Please give applause to our distinguished speakers. I believe that you still want to ask some questions, but let's table it for our future conference, inshallah. So ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end part of our presentation. Before we close, let me summarize some points. To sum up, we discussed tolerance and Islam as a religion of blessing for all universe, Rahmatan lil Alamin, as two major items that we need to perpetuate in order to be able to coexist with diversity and to accept differences in living this life. We also talk about the issue of self-identity and its connection to our goal to perpetuate religious moderation. And finally, we discussed very important cases of countering terrorism in Indonesia, Southeast Asia, and abroad. So we would like to say thanks again to our special distinguished speakers, His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid An-Nuaimi and Bapak Andika. Please give them warm applause. Your presentation are highly informative, interesting, and remarkable. And to audience, we thank you for your active participation. Hopefully, the presentations will be beneficial for everybody. Bermanfaat di dunia dan akhirat. Amin. Thank you very much for your attention. Wa ma taufiqi illa billah. Alaihi tawakkaltu wa ilahi unib. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Mr. Usep for having led the discussion session, and obviously the special guest speakers who have conveyed about the topic session on coexisting with diversity and accepting differences. Now, we would like to invite Professor Dr. Amani Lubis as Director of State Islamic University of Sharif Hidayatullah Jakarta, and Dr. Saiful Umam, the Dean of Faculty of Adab and Humanities, to come forward to the stage to give the appreciation of the gift to our guest speakers. Here, we would like to ask Professor Dr. Amani Lubis to give the appreciation of the gift to His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuaimi, and to give appreciation of the Honorable Mr. Andika Krishna Yudanto SHLM will be given by Dr. Saiful Umam as the Dean of Faculty of Adab and Humanities.
Okay, this is part of a project funded by Sheikha Fatma, the daughter of the Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, the president of the United Arab Emirates, for families and women in Afghanistan. That, you know, to empower women, that those who will send their daughter to the school, they can be part of a project that we buy all their product. So what you have seen here, this one is a product that an Afghani woman did in Afghanistan. We bought it from her because she sent her daughter to the school over there. And we call it the peace. Yeah? The name of this rug is a peace. Yes. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Semoga materi yang disampaikan pada hari ini oleh para pembicara dapat memberikan pengetahuan serta ilmu yang akan bermanfaat di kemudian hari.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is the launching of the book Coexistensi dalam Keragaman dan Perbedaan by His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuaimi. In advance, we are going to watch together the video of the book launching treasure. So we would like to ask the operator to share the screen first. Thank you very much. Here, His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuaimi would like to give the book to the Rector and the Dean of Faculty of Adab and Humanities. Therefore, we would like to invite His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuaimi, Mr. Andika Krishna Yudanto SHLLM, and Professor Albi Shihab, and also Professor Dr. Amani Lubis, and Dr. Saiful Umam to come forward to the stage.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's give the big applause. The following agenda is giving achievement pins to Faculty of Adab and Humanities outstanding students year 2022 who successfully obtained academic and non-academic achievement nationally and internationally in 2022.
Selanjutnya, yaitu penyematan penghargaan kepada mahasiswa dan mahasiswi berprestasi akademik dan non-akademik Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora tahun 2022 oleh Ibu Rektor UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta, yaitu Profesor Dr. Haja Amani Lubis LCMA, dan Bapak Saiful Umam PhD selaku Dekan Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta serta para wakil dekannya yaitu Dr. Ida Farida Emlis, Dr. Ade Abdul Haq M.Hum, dan Dr. Usep Abdul Matin MA sebagai bentuk apresiasi mahasiswa dan mahasiswi berprestasi akademik dan non-akademik di tingkat nasional dan internasional tahun 2022 Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta. Selanjutnya, kami mengundang kepada semua mahasiswa dan mahasiswi berprestasi yang namanya akan kami sebutkan satu persatu dan langsung naik ke atas panggung. Mahasiswa dan mahasiswi berprestasi di tingkat nasional Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora, mereka adalah Selo Bayu Aji, Nabawi, Hilya Maila Faiza, Muhammad Nginwanun Likulil Mahamid, Tifal Syahla Abda Fiota, Alvina Ika Arianti, Winda Kurniawati, Murni Sujiati, Ika Maulia, Hashifah Syakira, Muhammad Fadel Febriansyah, Dian Fazriah, Munabiah Lestari, Filzah Amalia, Siti Nazmi Mukorlobi, Mutiara Dila, Ardia Dita Amelia, Hiksan Dama Raharjo, Ivo Sehat Tifah, Naili Muna Zulfina, Ihwanul Fitra Isman, Miftahul Rahmah, Muhammad Abi. Selanjutnya, mahasiswa dan mahasiswi berprestasi di tingkat internasional Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora, mereka adalah Hilya Maila Faiza, Muhammad Nginwanun Likulil Mahamid, Tifal Syahla Abda Fiota, Dian Fazriah, Munabiah Lestari, Muhammad Fajar Sidik, Razita Nadra Yuslima, Nadia Anggraini, Febri Nur Evita Sari. Selanjutnya kami mengundang Saudari Hilya Maila Faiza sebagai perwakilan dari mahasiswa dan mahasiswi berprestasi di tingkat internasional dan Saudara Muhammad Fajar Sidik sebagai perwakilan mahasiswa dan mahasiswi berprestasi di tingkat nasional. Silahkan maju satu langkah ke depan untuk menerima PIN penghargaan dari Ibu Rektor UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta dan Bapak Dekan Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta secara simbolis. Dipersilahkan kepada Ibu Rektor untuk naik ke atas panggung dan menyematkan PIN kepada Saudari Hilya Maila Faiza. Dan dipersilahkan kepada Bapak Dekan Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora untuk naik ke atas panggung dan menyematkan PIN kepada Saudara Muhammad Fajar Sidik. Dan untuk Ibu Rektor serta Bapak Dekan Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora dan kedua perwakilan mahasiswa serta mahasiswi berprestasi akademik dan non-akademik untuk tetap di panggung terlebih dahulu. Sementara kami mengundang kepada para wakil dekan Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora, yaitu Dr. Ida Farida Emlis, Dr. Ade Abdul Haq M. Hum, dan Dr. Usep Abdul Matin MA untuk naik ke atas panggung dan memberikan pin kepada para mahasiswa dan mahasiswi berprestasi lainnya. Dan para mahasiswa serta mahasiswi menyematkannya sendiri-sendiri. Dan dipersilahkan kepada Ketua Program Studi, Wakil Ketua Program Studi, dan Sekretaris Program Studi untuk naik ke atas panggung. Sekali lagi, dipersilahkan kepada Ketua Program Studi dan Sekretaris Program Studi Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta dipersilahkan naik ke atas panggung. Mari kita berikan tepuk tangan yang meriah untuk mahasiswa dan mahasiswi yang berprestasi di tingkat nasional dan internasional Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora tahun 2022. Diharapkan kepada Ibu Rektor, Bapak Dekan Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora, serta para wakil dekannya dan mahasiswa serta mahasiswi berprestasi akademik dan non-akademik Fakultas Adab dan Humaniora tahun 2022 untuk tetap di atas panggung terlebih dahulu dan mengikuti sesi foto bersama. Dan dipersilahkan kepada para panitia yang bertugas untuk mengambil sesi dokumentasi. Selanjutnya, dipersilahkan kepada Ibu Rektor UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta, yaitu Profesor Dr. Haja Amani Lubis LCMA, Bapak Saiful Umam PhD, dan para wakil dekannya, serta para mahasiswa dan mahasiswi berprestasi untuk kembali ke tempat semula.
Once again, we would like to congratulate for those students who have received the awards of Outstanding Students Year 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, time flies, and finally we are at the end of our agenda. It is closing. We would like to thank to all participants of this event, especially to Professor Dr. Haja Amani Lubis, LCMA, Director of State Islamic University of Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta, along with Vice Rectors, to Chief of Bureau, to Mr. Saiful Umam PhD, the Dean of Faculty of Adab and Humanities, and along with Vice Deans, to special guest speakers, His Excellency Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuaimi, the Honorable Mr. Andika Krishna Yudanto, SHLLM, His Excellency Salim Abdullah as the Ambassador of United Emirates Arab to Republic of Indonesia, to Professor Albi Shihab, and special guests, especially all students of the Faculty of Adab and Humanities who have been within us during the event from the beginning to the end. Last but not least, we would like to thank to the head of committee, Mr. Usep Abdul Matin, PhD, who has arranged this event perfectly.
Semoga kegiatan pada hari ini memberikan kita banyak pengetahuan yang sebelumnya tidak kita ketahui dan kelak akan bermanfaat bagi kita semua.
I'm Tifal Shahla Abdaviota.
And I'm Risa Alifka Mardiana.
Thank you for having us. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Have a nice day.